Welcome to a new Monday morning routine. It's Coffee with Strangers with Kelli Lemon.
Hey, it's Kelli, and today I'm downtown at Pop's Market to grab coffee with Tommy McPhail. Besides the pink hair, Tommy's known for being involved with all things music and RVA, including having bands crash at his house. The guy tweets Michael Jordan every day. Yes, that Michael Jordan. It would never drink decaf. All right, you've seen the show. You know what I gotta do first.
Yes, ma'am.
Here we go. Welcome to Coffee with Strangers.
Thank you for having me.
You are a stranger to me, but not really. Hence,
Kind of,
the
sort of.
fact that I knew that your hair would match
You
it.
saved it just-
Who are you, and what do you do in Richmond?
So I'm Tommy. I'm all over the place is the best way I could describe it. I spend my time doing a lot of different things, mostly in music. I used to be a VCU student, then I graduated, and so now I'm working and living in the city, just trying to help however I can, help make Richmond a better place.
What's your daily coffee routine if you do have
Gotcha.
coffee?
No, I drink so much coffee,
Okay.
it might be clinically terrible for me. I usually drink only like 2 or 3 cups a day. I try to keep it black just because my dad was a Master Chief in the Navy. So his whole thing was like, if you can drink it black, you can drink it anywhere. And I was like, I don't really like the whole Navy vibe, but I'm with that. So try to keep it black. And then I got this coffee tattoo here. It says Death Before Decaf.
Wow, that tattoo scene is big.
Yeah,
in
no,
Richmond.
for sure.
And so, and I love the fact that we're such an art city that it's just not a tattoo.
Yep.
It is definitely a work of art. Are you from Richmond?
No, so
Okay, where's home?
Well, home is Richmond. I will say that. But I was born in San Diego, and then I moved around a lot. So I lived in Wisconsin for a long time, lived in Florida for a bit, lived in Texas, and then I went to high school in Virginia Beach.
Now, this hair, what does this fuchsia mean to you?
And you know so many people that like they have great personalities, but then like their hair, it's like very cookie cutter, and that's fine. Like live your life, live your dreams. I was bored, and I was like, I want to do something that I feel great about. Like wake up in the morning, and you're like, that's my hair, that's me. So I dyed it electric red because one, I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan, so Michael Jordan era Bulls, and that would start to fade to pink after like I want to say like 2 weeks. So I was like, why don't I just cut out the middle, man? Keep it super bright, and now.
I never expected you to put Michael Jordan into this conversation of why you would dye your hair.
I'm a fan of all things MJ.
Okay.
I run a blog called Tweeting Michael Jordan every day, which is one of my many side projects, just because he was my childhood hero. But then I started that blog because he's got a corporate account where he doesn't really tweet from it because like that's him, like he's inaccessible. So we're coming up on a year, so I've tweeted him one thing every single day, and I don't expect him to respond, but if he did, if I receive a like, a retweet, anything from his account by April 21st, I promised my fans I would pay for a plane ticket to Chicago. I would go to Michael Jordan's steakhouse by myself and order one steak and live tweet the whole experience just as a thank you to everybody.
You talked a little bit about music. So you're in a band, you write about bands, you like music. What's your music deal?
So music is my #1 passion. It's why I do everything else that I do.
Okay.
Anything I can do to help the community inevitably comes back to music. And then also anything to help music, can and should help the community. I saw bands that needed a place to stay on tour, so I was like, yeah, I can crash at my house. And then I saw friends who were trying to release projects where they just needed somebody who believed in them, and I was like, okay. And then besides that, like doing my own stuff, like trying to put positivity back into the world through my own projects.
What do you think about the Richmond music scene?
Sure. No, I think it's definitely growing, hands down.
Do you think that our music scene is very unique to Richmond?
The mix of artists you see that come through here, it's like there's something from every genre. Going down to South by Southwest, I know for a fact it's one of the hottest venues to play, but it's so hard to get a show here.
Whose responsibility is it to make sure that these bands have places to play at?
We all need to take a step up, but I will say like one thing like with the restaurants and the clubs and so forth is
I didn't even
restaurants
think
can
about that.
only sell as much food with alcohol, and there's like a very fixed ratio where they have to sell more food than alcohol. So how that trickles down to music is like, okay, if a restaurant can't afford to do both of those things and get people in, and it's oversaturated, then they can't afford to pay musicians, they can't necessarily afford the live music component, but you're not really seeing a place where it's like, hey, if you and me and a few other people help run this space, and we book up a calendar, how are we supporting those bands who aren't necessarily gonna be able to, bring in like $300 for the door, making that big money? Like it's really on those small time things.
Okay, what part of town do you live on? Don't tell me your physical address.
Okay.
Just let me know what part.
So I live in the Fan right now, and I know a ton of people who live there, so like, totally unique choice, right?
Yeah, if you could name your top 5. If you don't want to name your top 5 for political reasons,
Sure.
I understand. If you could tell me the last 5 you visited.
Me and my girlfriend, we just celebrated our first anniversary, so we just went to the Daily. Pasture and Comfort, I know it's 2, but like every time you go in there, hands down, they're doing the do. The band's coming to town, and it's like, what are the 3 things you know about Richmond? First one is they always want to go to Guar Bar. My hands down #1 favorite place. I tell everybody, don't look back in Carytown. Their tacos.
You're in whatever city and someone goes, where are you from?
I would probably ask that person, like, you tell me where I'm from, and people will be like, oh, like, maybe like a Portland, because you're you. I'm like, all right. Oh, you know, maybe it's like in Austin, because like Austin's weird, and you strike me as weird, but then like when I tell them, you know, it's like, I'm from Richmond, Virginia, and they're like, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Richmond's dynamite. It's exploding on so many levels, you know, with art, with culture, with food, and all the things that we've already talked about. It's one of those places where it's always a surprise for people.
To hear the rest of my interview with Tommy, check out the Coffee with Strangers podcast in your preferred podcast app. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube and get yourself over to Pops Market. Oh, and get to coffeewithstrangersrva.com to subscribe to the newsletter. We're now offering exclusive pieces of Tommy's interview that didn't make the video or podcast to newsletter subscribers. So do that and check out RVA Strangers when that drops on Thursday. See you soon.